Hello, my name is Robin Galgon. I am one of the presenters of the Children's Ministry Department from the North American Division. I live in Maryland with my two children, and I'm really happy to be here today to talk a little bit of our class from Track 1, Understanding Challenging Kids. Before I even start, let me introduce you to our children. Have you seen them before? Children are children, but they each one have their own personality, their own temperament, their own way of seeing life, react to things happily or angry or different reactions. And as leaders, we should be like Jesus, accept them as they are. Can you imagine if Jesus, for some reason, would kind of separate the ones that are easy to deal with from the ones that are more challenging? Think about that. The sad part of our society in today's world is that, unfortunately, our kids are labeled. We tell that they have ADHD, anxiety, or stress, or anger issues, depression, you name it. You know, you have been there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Well, what if instead of labeling our children, we qualify them as restless mind? The editor-chief of the parenting magazine states that everyone in the classroom has a story that leads to or it's behind misbehavior. 9 out of 10 stories, instead of making you angry, really will break your heart. Think about that. Now, I have to ask the leader of this video to stop the video and go over with you, the participants. Yes, I would like the participants to give their opinion, no matter if it's via chat or raising your hand. You have options on the bottom of your screen to give the input. The main objective of this class, for me, the presenter, is that we interact, we learn from each other, and we, most of all, exchange experiences. So you will have 5 minutes to discuss what does challenging behavior mean to you, to your staff, and to the family. Please stop the video. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Thank you. Now that you went over your opinions and you talked a little bit about misbehavior, I have a challenge for you. How, as leaders, we can connect with all kinds of children? Hold your thought. Keep that in your mind. Let's proceed. Let's continue. I want to have an activity with you now that for this presentation purpose, if it's only in Zoom, because not all the presenters or conference have the ability to create groups during the Zoom meeting, others have, so I don't know exactly how it works, but for the purpose of this training, I came up with an activity that we are gonna do now, that it's a paper folding activity, in which I will ask you to get a piece of paper. I will give you a few seconds while you do that, and I continue to explain, and come back. Meanwhile, there is another option of activities that I send to the leaders that involves grouping activity. If you are able to divide the class, the participants, into 6 different groups, go ahead and you take over and do the other activity called group activity. Well, I hope you had time to get your piece of paper. Now I would ask you to listen carefully to my instructions. I will tell you just one time. I'm not gonna repeat. It will be just one time. And let's see what happens. Ready? Let's go. I need you to fold your sheet of paper in half. Now I need you to tear off the upper right corner. Fold your paper in half again. Tear off the lower right corner. Fold your paper in half. Tear off the upper left corner. Fold in half a final time. Tear off the lower left corner. Are you ready? Unfold your paper and please share with the other participants what you came up with. Isn't it interesting? I'm pretty sure that you came up with different shapes because that's what always happens when I give this class. That's how our children are. They receive the same message you prepare. They listen. They decode what you just said, but the way they understand might be different from one another. We as leaders should be aware of the differences we deal with and find ways to connect with all of the children we work with. I want to talk to you a little bit about the kinds of challenging children we deal every week. I also would like to remind you that when we talk about dealing with challenging children, every research I did, it's from the school system, the researchers and all that. Well, they have to deal with the children several hours a day. In our case, we have to keep in mind that we only have 1 hour to deal with them every week. So that hour should have a positive impact on our children. They have to feel that they matter, that we care about them. We have to find ways to bond with them, with their families, with their parents. But let's go over our challenging children, shall we? The first one is the unchurched child. What does that mean? A lot of children sometimes come to our classroom that have no idea on how to behave in church, never heard about the Bible, don't even know how to dress, totally unprepared to be in the environment they are in. Even though they don't know better, we should make them feel welcomed and not uncomfortable for being a little different. The second type of child is the one that comes from an inadequate home. Those always break my heart because they can come from a family where the parents have relational problems, they beat each other, or some of them are in drugs. You know how sad some homes are. They might come to church hungry because they don't have any attention, and they might be facing emotional or financial problems, and that really should be not an issue, and we should really make them feel comfortable and comfort, if you will, in our classroom. We also have those that are bright and talented, those that, no matter what, they always have to be challenged or they get bored easily. And we need to make sure that they not become frustrated and maybe give them extra activities so they can still be engaged in the classroom. Maybe use their leadership skills to help others that need help. Next, we are going to talk, there are 6 types of children. You need to pay attention carefully because later on I'm going to ask about them again, okay? So let's talk about the withdrawn child. Sometimes they appear well-behaved, quiet or timid, you name it, but that means that they have anxiety, they are afraid of something, they don't have the attentiveness that they should get from home, and they might be hiding a serious problem. They even might be abused, who knows? So we need to be aware of this kind of children and how to work with them, encourage them to open up with us, to trust us, and set little goals and meet these goals one at a time. Then we have the show off. We all have always one that is the show off child. But the show off child, if you stop and think about it, they do that because they want attention. Maybe they had a younger sibling that was just born, and the parents are all into the new baby. The parents are always on their gadgets and don't give time to the child. There are so many reasons behind a show off child that we need to know them to identify those issues. And then finally, we have the hyperactive and inattentive child. Well, that's my child, my oldest son. He's ADHD. And I always participated with him in the Sabbath school because I don't think that is right that a child, the hyperactive child, disrupt other children. So as a parent, I was always with him, making sure that he was not disturbing. But they like to learn as they move. They like to act as they learn. Sitting and paying attention doesn't work for them. That's why it's important to know these 6 types of challenging children that I just talked about, to see how to put our program together. How do we deal with them? Well, you have to develop an approach to discipline them that helps them to feel most than anything else loved, wanted, special, and safe. That is fundamental. That should be our main goal. Make them want to come back. They can't wait next Sabbath to come up so they can meet the other people, the teacher, the other children, and have fun as they learn about the Bible. For that, you need to have a class management plan. Without it, forget it, don't even try. For that, obviously, you have to develop goals and procedures based on a common purpose. But make sure that these goals are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. Make sure that everybody is on the same page, and that as you go through your program and your goals, that happens smoothly. Some of the common goals that I identified is the purposes, I should say. The main objective is to teach our children about salvation, about grace, about Jesus' love. So the first step, you have to put a program together, a weekly program together that will meet the learning styles of every child that you have in your classroom. Well, part of the program is to prepare for it. You need to be ready when you go to Sabbath school. Not a last minute not a last minute deal. You need to be prepared, be secure of everything that is going to take place in that 1 hour that you spend with them. You should and you must include activities that will support and enhance the biblical topic you will be teaching that Sabbath. Pray, 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 and pray. Without pray, we don't get anywhere. Ask the Holy Spirit to inspire you in everything you do. And then make sure you implement the rules and discipline that will result in a positive, proactive behavior and a comfortable and cozy room for your children. It looks simple, but there is a lot involved on those steps. If anybody have anything else that come in mind, please raise your hand. The leader of this presentation will stop and you guys can talk a little bit about it. Basic tools. You need basic tools. And part of your basic tools is to build a team that work together, that are on the same page that understand the objectives of the classroom, what is included in your program, that follow the rules you have developed, and understand the meaning of effect and consequence. You can discipline children without making them feel uncomfortable. You can make them understand that your rules work in a certain way, and depending on their age, really, you can even have them participating in, maybe make a postcard with the rules of your classroom. What do you expect from them, and what are the consequences, and so on. Kids like to participate. For the little ones, obviously strategies are different. We need to be more motherly, if you will, and really help them to learn their emotions. They are stepping on, like they are giving the first steps, I should say, on their feelings, and they still don't know. They are trying to figure out what those feelings mean, how to handle them, how to deal with them. So there are a lot of things that we can do to help our team to be proactive, effective, and bring good and positive results to our children. Uh, it's important too that you identify some concerns that you might have, that make difficult to meet goals you have for certain children. In my classes, when I saw some child with challenges, I always set goals, one at a time, one step, step by step, one step at a time, and make sure that those goals we were progressing on those goals. If not, it's very important, and I always try to do that. I try to identify what was blocking progress on certain goals that we set, and you just restructure, you start all over again, and you keep going. Never give up on your child. You might be the only chance they have. You might be the only impact, positive impact, the spiritual impact they have. I still remember my teachers from my Sabbath schools when I was growing up, and I hold them dearly in my heart. We pray that each one of us be that someone special that our children will carry in their hearts forever. Talk to them about their feelings. Obviously, you are going to talk to them according to their age range, but it's important for them, first of all, to be aware of how they feel. Sometimes they will be scared of their feelings. They don't understand where they come from, why they are feeling that way, how to deal with that. It's important that they feel comfortable and secure to talk to you about it. Develop a relationship with parents. And that's a big one, because a lot of parents have difficulty in accepting their children issues. A lot of parents deny or say, no, my child is perfect, the problem is you. Well, we have to deal with them, but if, as much as possible, get parents involved, have them helping you to help their child, and things might smooth a little bit if you succeed on that. It's important, parent involvement. There are 5 basic steps that I suggest you to work with your children. Number 1, make sure that they understand that it's not okay to hurt other people. They don't have that right. And they should not do that, because Jesus never hurt other people, and we have to be like Jesus. Second, that a lot of times work and prevent like meltdowns or whatever you want to call. It's take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Count from 1 to 10 and rethink how you are going to react to that situation. The third one is to use words to say how they feel and what they want after that conversation. They feel that way, but what do they want to happen after, they go through that feeling? I hope it makes sense. Number 4, it's ask for help to solve problems. A lot of children have problems, but they don't feel like opening up with their own parents. Unfortunately, society today, parents don't give as much attention to their children as they should. But that's for another seminar. And fifth, take time to calm down. If the child is in the, like, let's take, for example, anger. If they are on the top of anger, help them to cope with the anger and bring some cope mechanisms that might help him to calm down and go back to the rest of the class. The challenging behavior have its impacts, unfortunately. Interferes with children's development, learning, and even the success at play in the class, like, for example, with crafts or any activity. Depending on how they react, the other kids might withdraw the child or push the child away. It's a normal reaction. Our children are not trained to accept everybody as everybody is. It can be also harmful to the child, to the other children, as well as to adults. So you cannot let anything go out of control. And if necessary, ask the parent to stay with the child, especially for the little ones. Trust me, being there, done that. It also can put the child at high risk because depending on the challenging behavior, the child can hurt herself and eventually might reflect on their social skills in the future as the child grows. Don't forget, I said that and I will keep repeating. Timid and withdrawn children or timid and withdrawn behaviors are also considered challenging. There is something wrong behind it. Not every time, but believe me, most of the time there is something behind it. Understanding the challenging behavior is fundamental for the success of your classroom. No question about it. Changing behavior, it's a form of communication. Challenging behavior is a form of communication. Let me go again. Challenging behavior is a form of communication. A child's solution to a problem. They challenge, they want attention, they are asking for help. One way or another, they are asking for help. Even the brilliant and talented child, they are asking for help. Ongoing, the origin of behavior can be emotional, functional, or both. Small changes that you make can have a huge impact. Things that we might think, oh, it doesn't matter, it's not going to change anything. It will. You will be amazed with small changes impact in these children. Some of the risk factors, biological and environmental, include genetics, the temperaments, complications of pregnancy or birth, developmental delays, and if it's a boy or a girl, they react differently. The environment, it has a huge impact as well because family factors impact the children as well as parenting styles. A lot of the kids' behavior reflect the way they are disciplined at home, and that's a challenge you have to face. We are not their parents. We spend 1 hour a day with them, but in this 1 hour, we can teach them a lot, and impact even their future. Because you know what? Don't forget we are being instruments of God. So if we have that in mind, God will use us to impact the children's lives. I feel honored to be part of the children's ministry and be able to interact with children and hopefully make a difference in their lives. Don't you? Poverty and social conditions also impact violent media, violence at home, cultural differences, and also one thing, childcare in school also impact our children's behavior. So these are factors that we really need to be aware of, the biological and environmental factors, and work around them. And depending on the church and depending on how many people and the social the financials of the children, the families you have in your church. Be aware. That's the only thing I say. And work with it. Okay. I want to show this video with sentences that I'm pretty sure all of us said one time in our lifetime, and reflect a little bit on it. Wouldn't it be better as leaders to change the tone of these phrases to something positive, to something proactive, to something that will build our children's self-esteem instead of making them feel bad and guilty because they are the way they are? That's upon us, not upon them. We have the power to change those statements to something that will strengthen their belief in Christian leaders. Think about that. If you want to come up with some sentences that would have a positive impact to whoever listens to it, please take a few minutes. The leader can stop the video, or you can do via chat and exchange your ideas. So what can we do? We as leaders, in so little time, before anything, know our children. Know each one of the children you work with. Know their weaknesses, know their strengths, how to make them feel good. If somebody has leadership skills, some other one are kind of, shy, try to make them help each other. Maybe the shy calm down the one that is super outgoing, or ask one of the people from your team or your aide to, be more aware of children that need more supervision while the program takes place. Try to rotate the parents. Parents don't want to be committed to every Sabbath do something, but maybe if you rotate them, and if they cannot come, maybe arrange other parents to fulfill their spot in that specific Sabbath. It's important too. When they see parents in the classroom, they like it. Look for ways to engage them. Mix high impact activities with low impact activities and keep them engaged all the time. Teach using different styles that will come across to all of them, and they will receive the same message, understand the same thing from the message you give that specific Sabbath. Make them feel safe, as I mentioned before, is special and accepted. It's very important for these children that are different to feel accepted. My son was bullied all his childhood. He's a grown-up now. But as a mother, believe me, trust me, I suffered with him. Kids can be cruel, and we need to teach them that that's not okay. Jesus accepts us the way we are, so should we. I'm sorry to keep pounding on this, but for me, this is a strong message that should be followed by everyone, adults and children, parents and children. The child, when has challenging behavior, it's calling for attention. Try to give them as much as possible without disrupting your class what they need. Maybe if somebody, for example, for an ADHD child, um, have one of these Pilates ball and have him sitting on because they need movement. So sitting on that will help him to at least have movements and be more engaged in the classroom, because basically hyperactive children need movement. That's the bottom line. So try to adapt to that, you know. And most important for me, it's be their model, because they are watching you. They are not only watching you when you are in the classroom, they are watching you when you are talking in the corridors of the church, after the worship, before the worship. They are observing every single movement, every single word that come from us. So keep that in mind and make sure that the Holy Spirit and God help you to be a good model. Remember, effective teachers spend more time promoting appropriate behavior than responding to bad behavior. And it's up to us to really structure our class in a way that even the children that misbehave won't feel comfortable to misbehave, because they want to participate, they want to be engaged, they get excited, and they want to be part of something that make them feel good. Well, how do we create opportunities for all children to succeed? First of all, you have to create a welcoming environment. You also have to change your approach with the children as needed. As you know them, as you face different situations, you change accordingly. Prepare your class plan accordingly and monitor the results. It's very important. One thing that we do in my church is that every Sabbath, after the Sabbath school, we have a debriefing afterwards. It's like 5 minutes. It takes us 5 minutes. And we just go over what happened that day, what could have been better, what could not have, or if there's something that has to be changed. And next time we will be more aware of that. That helps to build a connection among the people that participate, the team, right? In dealing with the children. And as you know your children, you are going to be able to prevent certain behaviors before it happens, because you will know them. So you will identify when some reaction is coming, and you will just avoid that to take place. And the child will feel good, because it is embarrassing for the child to go over these things. And it will be one more victory, one victory at a time. Changes take time. They are not like, oh, one Sabbath I would have the magic wand, bing, everybody, it's the way I want them to behave. Get it? It's not happening. It's a process that we have to work hard on and accomplish the goals we establish. Make sure that they want to come back. Make them excited that, oh, next week we are going to do this, that, and they really want to come back. And be someone that they can talk to. When children identify, bond with an adult, they talk. They like to talk. They have pure hearts. They have so much going on their brains, so much to learn, so many things they don't understand. Having somebody to talk to make change in their life, make a difference. Well, I like this saying, and I included on the PowerPoint presentation because I believe this is something we all should carry and post and put on our desks, wherever it can be visible. It's an everyday lesson. Discipline is helping a child to solve a problem. Punishment is making a child suffer for having a problem. To raise problem solvers, we need to focus on solutions, not retribution. This is serious. Think a little bit about it. We are leaders. We need to be on top of things, on top of helping our children to become better people with the grace of God. Our spiritual strength, it's very important for the ministry we are serving in. Constant communication between leaders during the week, keep in touch, talk, pray for each other. Oh, you are putting a program together. Oh, I don't know how to do this. Talk to each other. Exchange knowledge, information. Help each other to put a very outstanding program every week. And no matter what program you prepare, has to be outstanding for the children, not for the adults that might be in your classroom. The focus has and must be our children. I would like to ask the leader now to get ready the video that I want to close the presentation with. And but I want also to mention that effective response to challenging behavior is a process, not a one-time deal that provides children with the opportunity to develop the skills and attitudes they need to meet their needs appropriately. So it is a process. We need to be patient, perseverant, and make sure that goals are met. I would like now the leader to run the video.
I have a lot of memories from when I was a child. One that's always stuck out to me though was when I was about 10 years old and I was in school and I struggled. And I didn't struggle with English, math, or science. I struggled holding still. And I would try to listen and focus and process ideas, but I couldn't help myself. And to be honest, I would sit there and then I would just start tapping. And the students in the class would look at me and they'd say, "Hey, stop tapping." A lot of the time, I didn't even realize I was doing it. And then eventually even the teachers got after me and they would yell at me and they'd say, "Clint, you have to stop tapping." It got so bad that I got sent to the principal's office for tapping. And he said to me, "Okay, maybe when you go back to class, just try sitting on your hands." And so I did. I went back to class, and when I felt myself starting to tap, I did this. I sat on my hands. And that worked for about 5 seconds. One time I was tapping in class, and my teacher, Mr. Jensen, he looked at me and he yelled. And he said, "Clint, stay after class." And I thought to myself, this is it. I am done. Now, I've always been the type of person that believes that a single moment in time can change a person's life. And this was one of those moments for me. And I will never forget it. And so I was sitting there with Mr. Jensen and an empty classroom. And he walked past me and he sat next to his desk and he said, "Clint, come here. I want to talk to you." And as he looked me right in the eye, he said, "Now, I need you to know something. You're not in trouble. But I do have just one question that I have to ask you." And he said, "Have you ever thought about playing the drums?" And in that moment, Mr. Jensen, he leaned back and he opened the top drawer of his desk. And he reached in and he pulled out my very first pair of drumsticks. And he held them in his hands and he looked at me and he said, "Hey, Clint, you're not a problem. I think you're a drummer." From that moment on, I've never put those sticks down. I've toured, recorded, and played drums all over the world. My whole college education was paid for with drumsticks in my hand. Just because of a single moment in time when somebody believed in me. And he saw something in me that I didn't even see within myself. And from that moment, I learned that there's a difference between being the best in the world and being the best for the world.
And with that, I finish my training with the following thought: be an impact on your children's lives. You have the honor to serve God in this unbelievable ministry. God bless you. Stay safe. And it was very nice to be able to present this topic to you. I will see you soon. Thank you. God bless.